Hello and welcome back to the MARKIE channel. Now let me just start this video by actually giving a bit of a thank you. If you remember in my last video, and to be fair, a few videos before that, I've mentioned how I want to be starting a new project, a new channel with a group of my friends, and it was going to be more of like a passion project, something I'm just really looking forward to actually doing, and you guys have actually smashed the support on that, so thank you to everybody who like went over, even if you just watched, but specifically to people who like commented, give their opinions and everything. Honestly, it means the world, and if you haven't already, it is linked in the description. We're uploading twice a week on there, every Saturday and every Wednesday, okay, so technically there'll be a new video tomorrow as you're watching this, so yeah, if you do want to go over there, that's there. But yeah, I did just want to say thank you dead quick, not to get soppy or anything, but that's shit you don't care about, okay? What you guys care about is me talking about topics and saying if they're bad or not, eh? That's what we're all here for, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're starting with the smaller stuff and working our way up to the bigger topics, okay? And that is why we're going to be starting off with the Paul brothers, who are apparently, potentially, fighting Mike Tyson. Now let me just start off by saying that is a sentence that I never in a million years thought I would ever say. Like, we're talking about Mike Tyson here, you know, like the baddest man on the planet, the youngest heavyweight champion, the guy who literally bit someone's ear off in a boxing ring. And do you know the weirdest bit about this, okay? It's not that like the Paul brothers are calling him out, he's calling them out.
Jake Paul fights and all them type
Well, that's the money fight. Those are the fights that make the money. Those guys got 75 million people watching them.
Would you fight one of them?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, man, that'd be crazy. I want to see that.
Can I just say, by the way, if someone's response to saying if they wanted to fight me was, hell yeah, I'm running, okay? That's a man I don't want to mess with.
They would. That would be a lot of money.
That'd be a lot of money. We got to set that up, man. You versus which one, Jake or Logan? Which one your size? I don't even know. I can't tell the motherfuckers
The big
apart.
one, the 190. It's one like 190.
Oh, yeah.
So as you can see, Mike Tyson seems to be interested in this, which is, again, just a weird sentence. He then goes on to say that it'd probably make like $100 million off it, which, to be fair, I would also fight Mike Tyson for $100 million. Yes, there's a potential I die, but there's also a potential I get $100 million, for God's sake. But yeah, even as mental as it sounds, I do hope it doesn't happen. Mike Tyson's like, what, 54 years old? These guys are like in their prime, or not even at their prime yet. Like, they're really young, and it just wouldn't be a fun watch. It's not something I would ever want to witness, although if it was on, let's be honest, we would all click on it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Now, moving on to the next topic, we're actually talking about Emma Chamberlain, okay? Because Emma Chamberlain has recently done this bit of like a change on her channel. She's went from like the funny, fast-paced edit like Emma Chamberlain that you were used to more of like a... how do I even describe it? I feel like it's more like an authentic look at Emma Chamberlain now. Like, not too crazy with the edit. It's a little bit more cinematic. It's just a change of style and her content. And speaking of style, it seems like Emma's also trying to get into the fashion industry. And that became apparent in an interview that Emma did with the V magazine, in which she actually talks about how it's quite difficult for her to kind of get into the fashion industry because she's a YouTuber. So here's the article here. An interviewer asked, do you think it's harder if, like, you're an online creator? To which Emma Chamberlain said, yes, 1000%. In a sense, the fashion world itself has been around forever, and influencers and digital celebrities are very new and haven't necessarily earned their stripes yet. I think some people are not ready to accept it as a new form of celebrity, which I totally understand because it's like mixing something new with something classic, and it can feel wrong. I understand that kind of discomfort comes from people who've been in the fashion industry since they were younger, where maybe it was before this was all a thing, and seeing a digital influencer come in feels wrong. And to be honest, the reason I wanted to bring this up, because I think it raises quite an interesting conversation that I want you guys to let me know in the comments to see, do you agree, do you disagree with what Emma's saying here? Because I feel like there's a lot of YouTubers who are getting to a point in their career now where they do want to try something different, whether that's fashion, music, acting, like we've seen it all, right? Boxing, everything. And it seems like that every time a YouTuber gets to try and get involved in all this stuff, they kind of get pushed away from the people who've been there for a long time, which, to be fair, as Emma said, is fairly understandable. Like, if you had worked your ass off your whole life to get into a certain industry and then someone just walked into it because they had a following, you would feel some type of way, right? But that is kind of how it works, and to be fair, all it does is really help that industry. And for me, I think it also depends on how much respect the person's given the industry as well. So if Emma's getting into fashion and she's giving it the respect that it deserves, and she's giving it the time and effort and actually really trying to make a good go of it, I don't see how there's anything wrong. But obviously, if she just walks in there and she's like, you know what, 10 million people watch me, I'll just shot on anything, and it'll work. That's a bit different, but I don't believe that's what Emma's doing. But I would love to know your opinions, not just on what Emma's saying, but like YouTubers in general trying to get into other things. Like, do you think it should be more of an accepted thing, or do you think it is a bit subjective in terms of like, it depends on how serious the people are taking it? But yeah, now moving on to the next topic, okay? We're going to be talking about Ethan Klein, who, had a bit of a blunder just a few days ago. As we have already kind of briefly spoke about, Ethan and Hila are expecting a child. The reason we spoke about it is because they did a gender reveal like on their podcast and it was a boy. Well, Ethan actually leaked the other day saying that the son's name is actually Bruce, and obviously a few people have like went onto like their subreddit and spoke about this because obviously they weren't supposed to know. It's like this crazy thing. Oh my god, we know the baby's name, and it turns out Ethan isn't exactly too happy.
Yeah, you guys bullied us, by the way. Speaking of which, to consider changing our future son's name. So I hope you all are proud of yourself.
We did?
No, not you. The subreddit and everyone, there was like all these super mean memes about Bruce's name. Which, I don't know. Apparently, all of my family and everyone hated the name too.
Now, I've got to say, kind of do feel bad for him, because it would have been a name that he was obviously excited about, hence why he's calling his son that. And not so much like the subreddit, like that's whatever, I expect that, but to say like your family hate the name as well, kind of feel a bit bad for him. But yeah, I think like this is an apparent reason why you maybe shouldn't say what the name is before the baby is born, because once the baby is born and has got the name, you kind of got to accept it. Like, people aren't going to give their opinions, but at a point where technically it can be changed, people can be ruthless. We've seen that before.
Good job, guys. You guys bullied us into changing our kid's name, so success. But we have some good alternatives now, but I'm not going to say them because you guys are going to ruin You're going to get me in the doghouse again.
So yeah, there you have it, okay? Apparently the internet has bullied Ethan into changing his son's name. I feel like that's going to be a weird story. Do you know, like, when... I don't know if you've had this conversation with your parents before. I feel like a few people have, where you would have been called something else at some time. There's always a story. Imagine a story being like, oh yeah, we were going to call you Bruce, by the way, but a bunch of, like, 15-year-olds on the internet forced us to change it. So we did. But yeah, that's actually not the only story we're going to be talking about someone who is either expecting a child very soon or has just had a child. But it's probably the most positive story we're going to be talking about in terms of that, because the next one's to do with Zoe Lavern. Now, if you remember, Zoe Lavern has had quite a few allegations against her. One most notable one was talking to a boy who was a lot younger to her, which was slightly illegal. And then a few months after this big controversy, it turned out Zoe Lavern had actually announced that she was pregnant and that she was expecting a child. And then obviously when people heard this, kind of went on our own way, whatever. I haven't really heard much of it very recently, okay? Until I saw that Zoe Lavern had apparently put on a story, like people were sending me DMs about it, saying, I don't care if you don't like me, but don't talk shit about a newborn, you freak. You're seriously that mad she's here, jealous over a baby. Some of y'all are going nowhere in life, LMAO. Now, when I saw this, I kind of felt sorry for Zoe. I was like, oh, God, she's getting, like, criticism for having a kid. Like, no one knows, like, what's going on with her life or whatnot. Like, she's having a child. Let's not, like, slate a child, like a newborn baby. Let's not do that. And then I realized that's not what people are doing. In fact, people were criticizing the fact that Zoe Lavern, and get this is going to sound like a lie, it's not, was selling pictures of her baby. Not exactly the best thing to do, is it? Thanks so much for supporting us. I dropped some exclusive photos in my link that were extra special moments of me during the delivery. Yes, that's right, Zoe Lavern was selling pictures of her kid for $15 that people could buy to see what her kid actually looked like because she wasn't posting it publicly or whatever, which she doesn't need to do, by the way. You absolutely don't need to do that in a million years. But don't sell the fucking pictures. There just seems something a bit weird about that. Like, why are you profiting off your kid? Like, that's actually, like, worse than these, like, family channels. Now, Zoe actually responded to this on TikTok and many other places, okay? Basically said she doesn't know why she did this and kind of apologized, but then kind of like explained why she did it.
There is no excuse for what I did, but I didn't sell any pictures of my daughter in that way. That wasn't what I was trying to do. That wasn't what I was trying to get at. This is so frustrating. I didn't even want to do it in the first place. But as a new-time mom, I was scared to post her face at first because of the death threats and stuff that she received. So I looked at it like that, didn't think about it in any other wrong way that it could have been looked at, and I'm sorry.
So what I will say right there is the fact that Zoe didn't want to post pictures of her kid publicly in case, like, there'd be, like, online trolls or whatever, there'd be people who would just say horrible things. So understandable. In fact, that would actually be a very logical thing to do. It's probably the thing that you should do, right, if you're expecting stuff like that. But then that doesn't change the fact that you should sell, like, pictures of your child online instead. Like, oh, right, okay, because they're paying $15, they won't be mean, and then I can just keep the money. That's a win-win, right? No, it's fucking weird. She then goes on to explain that she's not going to keep any of the money, and then she's going to donate it instead. Will she? I don't know, like, if she can post it publicly. We'll see. I don't know how much money she even earned from this link. But yeah, either way, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation and everything else we spoke about in today's video. And for now, that is actually going to be it for today's video. Now, if you did enjoy, please do leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new as well. Obviously, the new channel is linked in the description as well. If you want to go and check that out, there'll be a video out tomorrow. And then, obviously, twice a week, there's also a video out there already. And, yeah, I guess until tomorrow, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye. I'm a T-star, boy, and that's forever till I die. Up and coming MCU, can see it in my eyes. Every time I grab the mic, I swear I got hit